Oh yeah, thank you. Every day we hear. We hear cars driving, birds whistling, and the wind blowing. But do we ever truly listen? You see, hearing is passive. It only requires us to pick up sound waves with our ears, and that's all. But listening is active. Listening requires us to acknowledge these sound waves and use their information to really understand someone else's thoughts, ideas, or feelings. I don't think we listen enough. Do we really try to be empathetic all the time, or do we just pretend to seem like we are a better person? When I went to my home country, I talked to my grandparents about all sorts of things. Politics, social norms, environmental issues, you name it. And when I was talking to them, I realized that my opinion sometimes differed from theirs. I believed some things that they didn't believe, and when I felt like when I should have jumped in, I didn't. And I tried to truly listen to what they had to say. And by doing this, I gained a better understanding of their worldview. And I thought this was a really good thing to do, especially in the modern world, where we see the media showing these flashy headlines that are only there for them to make money, but that divide us all in the process. So today, I want to explore the profound connection between listening and philosophy. First, why philosophy? Well, philosophy requires listening to change one's ideas on big questions like, why are we here? What does it mean to be alive? And why do we seek purpose? If we were to simply refuse any dialogue, we'll soon realize that we're stuck with these limited perspectives, biases, and assumptions. To break this cycle, we must listen, and this will lead to a better understanding of our surroundings. One explanation found by philosophers for our existence is existentialism. Existentialism emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility and authentic experience. Jean-Paul Sartre, a famous philosopher, novelist, and prominent political activist from France, famously stated, "Existence precedes essence." And what this basically means is that we are all free to live our lives, but that with that freedom comes absolute responsibility. And some people try to escape this responsibility by living in what he calls bad faith. And we've all seen this before with someone else who says that they can change themselves. This is who they are. When they do something wrong or annoying or that's just not right. And by saying this, they can simply avoid any form of self-improvement as they choose to believe that they can change. Let's say a friend comes up to you and they want to talk about the fact that they have managed to overcome a deep fear of theirs that's held them back for many years. And as they're talking about as they're talking about their struggles and their victories, you soon realize that you have your own fears and your limits that you've never confronted. And by listening to them, you too want to confront your limits. All of that by simply listening. Contrasting with existentialism's pursuit of meaning, we have nihilism, which states that life is inherently meaningless. There is no meaning to life. Friedrich Nietzsche was a writer and prominent nihilist thinker from Germany. He famously declared, "God is dead." And what he meant by this is that there has been a decline in religion, which has led to the collapse of religious and moral certainty in our society. He believed that we must create our own values, that we must create our own values with our inner drive. That tells us that we want to do more than simply live. That tells us we want to pursue things in the world. Because without this inner drive, our lives would in fact be inherently meaningless. He also believed that society wants us to suppress our natural strengths, such as creativity and courage, while preferring humility and obedience, or what he called the slave mentality. This discrepancy between what we want and what society wants from us leads us to think for ourselves. But thinking for yourself does not mean ignoring others. Again, a friend comes up to you and they want to talk about the fact that they've managed to live with the fact that life has no ultimate purpose. At first, you might be unsettled when hearing this, because if there's no meaning to life, then what's the point of anything? But as they keep talking, you realize that they see it as something positive, because they don't have to live life in any way. They can live it how they want to live their life. They don't have to chase goals or stress over things that society wants them to stress on, but rather on things that they want to stress on. So by simply listening, you realize that nihilism does not mean hopelessness, but rather an opportunity to live life free from expectation and external pressure. Taking the concepts of existentialism's pursuit of meaning and nihilism's lack of meaning, we find absurdism standing right in between them, stating that life has no inherent meaning, but that our search for meaning in this life is what makes us truly alive. The French Algerian Albert Camus was a writer, journalist, and philosopher known for his work on absurdism. He declared that the conflict between life's futility and our pursuit for meaning in this life is what creates the absurd. In The Myth of Sisyphus, his book, he compared our lives to that of Sisyphus, a Greek figure who is condemned to roll a boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down every single time. And this task is pointless because he can't finish the task. And at first he is very frustrated by this fact, because why even try pushing the boulder up the hill if it won't lead to anything? But then eventually, after trying 100 of times, he starts to embrace the task, and he finds meaning in pushing the boulder up the hill. That's why, according to Camus, we must imagine Sisyphus happy. He simply rebelled against the absurd by living without any false hope. He simply enjoyed the task. And by listening, we can do the same. By listening to other people's try in how they try to embrace the absurd, we can start to confront the absurd ourselves as well. Now that I've talked to you about the benefits of listening, there are also a lot of challenges when it comes to listening. Think of cognitive dissonance, for example. This occurs when we hear new information that contradicts our own, and instead of opening ourselves up, we instinctively reject this information, leading to no growth. I had this myself when I talked to one of my friends who smokes. When I tell them about the problems of smoking, they know the problems as well. They want to live a long and healthy life, but they still continue smoking because they simply enjoy it. And when confronted again, they simply downplay the risks. They say that, well, their grandpa lived till 90, so they should be fine as well. Then confirmation bias, which occurs when we seek out information that aligns with our pre-existing beliefs while ignoring opposing beliefs. This leads to echo chambers, where we get a narrowed and distorted view of existence. Then lastly, the backlash effect, which occurs when we hear new information and we double down on our pre-existing beliefs, leading to us solidifying our own opinions. This occurs when you talk to someone who does not want to be vaccinated, for example. When presented with contradictory evidence, they might double down on their beliefs, and they might state even crazier things, such as that doctors are in on a big conspiracy to get us all vaccinated, for example. As we're navigating these challenges, you start to see how significant listening really is, especially about beliefs that are intertwined with our identity, such as existence. If someone were to simply disregard these beliefs, you might feel angry because this is who you are. You identify yourself as a nihilist or a Christian even. By actively listening to others, we can bridge these gaps. And we can do this by creating an environment where there's room for listening. You can create this environment as well by having an open body language, for example, to invite others to talk to you, or withholding your judgment, as you might judge someone too soon without knowing the full extent of their opinions, or reflecting on their ideas to make the others actually feel heard by you. When you do this, you can also start stating your opinion, as the other person is more at ease now, they feel comfortable, and they're more prone to listening. Now we know that listening is more than just an exchange of words. It is what connects existentialist responsibility, nihilist freedom, and absurdist resilience. When listening, we do more than simply acknowledge someone's words. We engage with their existence. We absorb new perspectives, we challenge our own assumptions, and we refine our beliefs. And if we do this right, we don't do this to agree, but we do this to grow. Sartre tells us we create meaning through choice, Nietzsche tells us to overcome, and Camus tells us to embrace the absurd. A full understanding of all of these branches is only possible in a world where we listen to each other. As without listening, we are unable to evolve, and we remain trapped in our own echo chambers. So now, you must ask yourself, will I just hear, or will I truly listen? Will I open myself to new perspectives, or will I simply retreat into my comfort zone, where everything is nice and certain? If we, as both individuals and as a society, start to actively listen today, I believe our world won't be based on division and judgment, but on connection and understanding. The choice is yours. Are you ready to listen?